to the check-in report. We're talking about birthright citizenship. I want to know you guys' thoughts and opinions on birthright citizenship. Tune in. About to have a discussion about birthright citizenship. Give me a second. Let me just make the poll, right? Do you believe in birthright citizenship? In birthright citizenship. Just let me know, guys. Do you believe in birthright citizenship? Yeah, I want to know. Do you believe in birthright citizenship? It's a discussion happening, top levels in government, top levels in our political system. They're talking about birthright citizenship. Is it something that should be played with? Is it something that you guys believe that we should keep intact? I don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm here to talk to you guys about it. Do you believe that people that are not from this country, do you think that they have the right to come to this country and have kids in this country and be citizenships? I just want to know you guys' opinions. Do you believe in birthright citizenship? Let me know. Do you believe in birthright citizenship? Do you believe in everyone being a citizen? No matter where you come from, your loyalty, political ties you may have, political, any organizations you may come from. There's people from different countries that are tied to terrorist organizations and different things of that nature. And they come here and they have kids. Do you subscribe to this? I just want to know. We're here asking the question, do you believe in birthright citizenship for all? For all. Meaning anyone can come here, have a child, and they have the right to have their children be a citizen of America. Um, Donald Trump, he talked about the 14th Amendment. He talked about how the 14th Amendment was created for the children of slaves. So he did give the FBA some respect. He said that these laws, in terms of the 14th Amendment and other things that were in that Constitution and other things amendments, he said that these things were put in place for the children of FBA, these for foundational Black Americans. So these things were not necessarily put in place for immigrants to come here and to take advantage of these things put in place. Now, just to put something in perspective, when it comes to things being done politically, when it comes to things being, moving the needle in terms of civil rights, in terms of things being done politically for people that are of a different color and creed, we all know that black people fit the bill. We all know that black people are leading the charge. I mean, a lot of different communities, whether they be the Hispanic, the Asian, and different ethnicities, they've kind of all hopped on the back of black people and all of the strides and all the things that we've done in terms of the civil rights era, in terms of what we've done during Reconstruction, Jim Crow. They've kind of hopped on our backs respectfully, and they were not necessarily a part of those movements, but they benefited off of the hard work that a lot of black people did. So I just want to know, do you feel that birthright citizenship is something that everyone should have the right to? Salute to Magic. He says WSP. He says, man, what you talking about? I'm talking about birthright citizenship. Do you believe in birthright citizenship for all? Meaning that anybody can come here illegally or legally, come here, have a child, and their child has the right to be a citizen. Do you believe in this? Do you think this is fair? You know, a lot of the amendment, and it's the 14th Amendment. Donald Trump, he came out and he said, and I'm going to give Donald Trump credit because normally I don't like to give Donald Trump credit, but I'm going to give him credit. He said that these things were put in place in terms of the 14th Amendment. These things were put in place for the children of slaves. These things were not put in place, in terms of these things were not put in place for immigrants, migrants, foreigners. These things were put in place for the children of slaves. Now remember, the slaves, they built this nation. They built this great nation. You're gonna find historical documents where you're going to find slaves who built the White House, slaves who built monuments in Washington. You're going to find so many articles of black people participating in the building of this nation, not to mention all of the hard work that they've done in terms of in the military, fighting in those wars, all of the hard work that they've done in terms of this. There was a point in time in this nation where this nation was solely ran off of slavery. People working in those cotton fields, and the economy benefited off of that free labor. So black people gave a lot to this nation. They gave a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to this nation. So these things, a lot of these laws were put in place for the children of slaves. These laws were put into place for these people. So these things were not particularly put in place for migrants, immigrants, foreigners, but they've been able to benefit off of these laws. They've been able to benefit and jump on the coattails of black people, respectfully. Salute to Sinclair. I see Sinclair's in the building. Yeah, I want to know, do you guys believe in birthright citizenship? Do you believe in anybody? Anybody from anywhere? Let's say hypothetically. Let's do a hypothetical. Let's do a hypothetical real quick. Hypothetically, if someone from Iran with ties to Hezbollah, if they came to this country and they married an infidel, right? Just hypothetical. Came to this country and they married an infidel, and they have ties to Iran and Hezbollah, and they have a child with the infidel. Does that child have a right to birthright citizenship? I want to know. I want to know. I want to know, how far are the Democrats willing to take this? How far are they willing to take this? How far are we willing to go? You know, the buck has to stop somewhere. You know, the buck has to stop somewhere. Where does the buck stop? Because I know a lot of people are going to feel sentimental towards migrants coming here looking for a better life, and I have a lot of sentiment for migrants coming here for a better life. I have a lot of sentiment for that. But where does the buck stop? If someone comes here, let's say hypothetically, someone from a terrorist organization comes to America illegally, right? And they conceive a child in America. Does that mean that that child has a birthright citizenship in America? The child of that terrorist, the child of that person? I just want to know, where does the buck stop? Are we protecting the American people? Are we protecting this nation? What are we doing? Where does the buck stop? You know? And I'm going to keep saying it, Donald Trump had a point. I wish I could play the audio. He said that these amendments and these laws were created to protect the children of slaves. These were not laws for migrants, immigrants, respectfully. And I'm not trying to disrespect or denigrate any of these people, because I know a lot of these people are really good people coming here for a better life, and I can't hate on that. I can't hate on anyone looking for a better life and looking for a better opportunity. But in terms of these laws that people have been able to manipulate, these laws that people have been able to work the system and get one over on the system, a lot of people have benefited off of this because of all of the hard work that black people have done. So I need to know, do you guys believe in birthright citizenship? Or do you believe that it should be done away with? Should it be done away with? Should birthright citizenship? Now, I wish I had my computer in front of me, because I know that there are a couple of countries that do not have birthright citizenship. Um, I know that there's a couple places in Europe. They do have birthright citizenship in a couple places in Europe, but there are a couple places that do not have birthright citizenship, that you have to go through the process. And my whole thing is this: why are people so afraid of the process? Why don't people want to go through the process? Why don't people want to go through the process? Let me ask y'all that. To anybody in here who's a legal citizen, anyone here who's an American, anyone who's been a generational American, where you have 20, 30, 40, 60, 80 years deep in American history, American culture. You go generations deep like me. Why don't these people who don't want to become naturalized citizens. They want to have babies. They want to work here. They want a piece of the American dream, but they don't want to go through the process of becoming an illegal citizen. Why is that? Why is that? Is it because they are enjoying taking advantage of the government? They are enjoying taking advantage of the the things out there that they could participate in, whether it be the Medicare or the financial aid or the governmental assistance. Is it just that? Is it just them being a welfare baby, or is it more so they have no allegiance to this country? What is it? Why don't these people, respectfully, and I'm not trying to clown, because some of these people are going through the proper channels, and they're just going through the process, and these things take time. These things could take years. But why aren't some of these people, if they want to, if they want to live here, if they want to participate, if they want to be a part of the system, they want to be a part of the process, why aren't some of them going through the process? Why aren't they going through the proper channels? If you want to be here so bad, and we see the videos, we see the protests of people waving the flags, of the countries they come from, and all of this stuff. If you feel that proud of where you come from, and I have to say this, I have to say it. But if you feel this allegiance and this proud cultural heritage, and there's nothing wrong with that of where you come from, we have to ask the question: why aren't you there? Why aren't you there making that the utopia? Why aren't you there? Respectfully, I'm not trying to be disrespectful by asking that. I'm really asking a question. If you have all of this pride and allegiance of the place you come from, you love your country, and I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that's a beautiful thing that you have pride and love and admiration for your country. I think that's a beautiful thing. But if you have all of these feelings, and if you have all of this patriotism for where you come from, why aren't you there making that the best place? Why aren't you there making that the utopia? Why are you here with this mutinous attitude towards America, with this mutinous attitude towards the customs of America and the policies and the politics of America? Why is that? Why aren't you making your country the utopia that you want it to be? Why aren't you there? We have to ask that question, because I'd love to know that question myself. So I put in a poll: do you believe in birthright citizenship? Give me 1 second, y'all. So so 100% of people said no. And listen, now where should the buck stop? Because I kind of want some assistance from you guys. Maybe you guys could give me some assistance on where you think the buck should stop. Should the buck stop at one parent being a legal citizen, and maybe the other person isn't a legal citizen, but that person still, that child still has the right to be a citizen? Like, where does it stop? Like, where does the buck stop? Are we going to, another thing we have to think about, if we, let's say we was to get rid of birthright citizenship, how far are you willing to go back? These people have been living in America for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. They've created lives. Some of them are homeowners. Some of them, some of them are paying, some of them are, they've had hard working jobs. They've been working there for years. How far are you willing to go back? If we're going to say, well, anyone who is here, who is not a naturalized citizen, who doesn't have citizenship in America, they have to go. How far are you guys willing to go back? Are you willing to have sympathy for the people that have been here 20 plus years, 30 plus years? Or are you just willing to do away with all of them? I want to know. I want to know. What's the right way to go about it? And of course the Democrats, they're holding on to anything that they can. They see that this is it's really been a problem in America for a long time. It's not Trump's fight. It's not Obama's fight. It's not Biden's fight. This has been going on in America for a long time, and no one has really been able to solve this issue. But my issue with the Democrats is, they're going so hard on Trump for deporting illegal immigrants. They're going very hard on him. And listen, I'm not a fan of Trump. I'm not a fan of what he's doing. or the route he's going or the way he's going about it. But we have to be honest here. Obama deported 3 million people. You can't tell me, Democrats, that he didn't break up a home. You can't tell me that he didn't take fathers away from their children and wives. You can't tell me he didn't break up homes. You didn't tell me he didn't, have people running away from their job sites in fear of them getting arrested from border patrol or ICE patrol. You can't tell me that Obama wasn't doing the same things that Trump was doing with 3 million people. You're going to tell me 3 million people were just happy to be deported, Democrats? The Democrats are hypocrites. Because when Obama was deporting 3 million migrants, where was the outrage then? Where was the fighting then? Where was the protests, the King's protest? Where was all of this back then? Where was that energy? Where was that? I don't remember it. The Democrats, they kind of just, they were quiet. They allowed it to happen. It's very interesting. To this day, Trump has not deported over 3 million people. He's trying to. I'm sure he's trying to beat that record. I'm sure he's trying to match that number or beat that record. But to this date, he has not deported over 3 million people. He hasn't done it. Obama has. Obama deported 3 million people. The Democrats are trying to act like that never happened, but it did. But you're making, deportations and the whole ICE movement and all that, you're making that an issue, but you sat quietly when Obama deported 3 million. It's very interesting to me. It's very interesting to me. Salute to Sweet Lullabies. Salute to everybody in the chat. Yeah, make sure you hit that like button. We got 7 people in the building. Make sure you hit that like button. Please hit that like button. Yeah, hit that like button. Let me pin that. Sinclair says like, subscribe, hit the notifications button. Yeah, in terms of birthright citizenship, if you want to know my opinion, um, birthright citizenship, um, the reality is this: it's being abused. It's being abused. It's being abused, and we may have to look into editing it. We have to look into editing it because let's be honest here. If you have two parents, let's say you have two people who come here illegally, right? And this is just one scenario, one hypothetical, right? Let's say you have two people that come here hypothetically to America and they come from another country. If they come here and they conceive a child, I don't believe that that child is American. You have two parents here who are not from this country. And not only are they not from this country, they've illegally entered this country. So that's like two strikes right there. You've entered this country illegally. Neither one of the parents are citizens of this country. What gives you the right to be a citizen in America? What gives you the right? What gives you the right to be a citizen in America? You've illegally entered this country and neither one of your parents are American citizens. How does that give you the right to be a citizen? I would think that at least one of your parents would have to be, or at least, one of your parents would have to be a citizen. At least one of your parents would have to be, a part of the process, or, or at least going through the process. I mean, some of these people are having children in this country, respectfully, and, they haven't even gone through the process. So they're not even going through the process of becoming. It would be different if, let's say, you had two people who came here illegally, and let's say they're going through the process of becoming a legal citizen. And, I think we could work with someone like that because at least you guys are going through the process. If you are going through the process of becoming a legal citizen, we could work with these people because you know what? You're going through the process and we could work with you having a child as a legal citizen because you're going through the process and we don't want to add stress onto your process. So I think those people should have leniency. But the people who come here illegally, and come here and drop off a baby, I don't think that gives you right to be a citizen or for your child to be a citizen of America. I don't think so. I don't believe you have the right to do that. Maybe if one of the children, we got 16 people in the building, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. But I don't believe that gives you the right to be a citizen just because you come here and drop off a baby. I believe one of those parents need to be an American citizen. One of those parents need to be paying taxes in America. One of those parents needs to be a naturalized citizen for you to be a participant in a citizen of America. So I believe we need to be editing some of these things out. And like I said, I'm going to keep pushing that needle. The 14th Amendment, Donald Trump said it out his mouth. The 14th Amendment was created for the children of slaves. This what these laws were created for the children of slaves. It was not created for migrants, immigrants. Respectfully, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody that falls underneath that label, or anybody from that community. I'm not trying to be disrespectful whatsoever. I'm just telling the truth. But these things were not created for these individuals. These things were created for the children of slaves. That's just the reality of the situation. And people have come here, and respectfully, another thing, you know, when it comes to civil rights, when it comes to political strides, a lot of communities, whether it be Hispanic, whether it be Asian, no matter what it is, whatever minority group you can think of, a lot of these communities has hopped on the back of FBA. They've hopped on the back of the political strides, the political maneuvers, the things that black people have fought tooth and nail for. A lot of these minority communities, respectfully, they've jumped on the backs of black people and they've taken advantage of these laws, whether it be affirmative action, whether it be birthright citizenship. They've taken advantage of these laws. They took advantage of these opportunities. And these were things created for black Americans, right? So I'm just keeping it real. And I think that, and listen, I'm no fan of Trump. I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't agree with 99.9% of the things he does. But I do believe that that's been some of the things he's been trying to do away with. That a lot. I'm not saying he's some patriot saint for black people, because he's not. But I do believe he's trying to get away with. He's trying to get away from all of this. People taking advantage of these things put in place for communities that were marginalized. Things that were created for black Americans, and people have now gentrified them. Why are white women, respectfully, again, not trying to be disrespectful, but why are white women a part of a minority group? Why is LGBTQ a part of a minority group? We know that the majority of LGBTQ is made up of white males. If white males are the predominant group in America, and LGBTQ is predominantly white males, we have a false minority group. That's not a real minority group. But we allow things like this to happen. These things have been corrupted. These things have been manipulated. These things are ridiculous and they're out of control. And something needs to happen. Just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. Keeping it real. Why is it? Why is LGBTQ considered a minority group? Can somebody tell me that? The majority of LGBTQ is made up of white males. Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. I challenge any of you in here to look it up. The majority of LGBTQ is made up of white men. If white men are predominantly in LGBTQ, how are they a minority group? How? How is that possible? How? How is that possible? These men can go into corporate America and still be white men. We know that we live in a white power structure, white dominant society country. So you're telling us that they're a minority group, but these are still white men. They still, they still put on the suits. They still, just because they drink margaritas and like to take some hot dogs up the backside, that now they're a minority group. That's hogwash. But these things have been corrupted. These things have been manipulated. These things are out of control. You know? We got 13 people in the building. I need you to hit that like button. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're here talking about birthright citizenship. Do you believe in birthright citizenship? Do you believe in the rights of birthright citizenship? Are you is anyone in here a first generation American? Anyone in here a first generation American? Or maybe your parents were migrants or from another country. They came here for a better life. Not knocking them for that. And you are a first generation American. Anybody in here first generation American? I want to know. Is anyone a first generation American? 89% says no, I do not believe in birthright citizenship. As you shouldn't. As you shouldn't. You know? And like I said, like if there's one parent, if there's one parent that's a citizen of America, I don't have a problem with that. If you have at least one parent that's a citizen of America, I believe that your child is an American citizen. But and if that person is living in America and they're a citizen of America, and they have a child with someone from another country, I believe that that person deserves to be a citizen of America. I do. I do. Um, it's very interesting, though. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting thing. Um, do you believe in birthright citizenship? I want to know, though, in the chat, man. I want y'all to be a part of this. I want to know what you guys think in terms of birthright citizenship. Do you guys believe in it? Do you guys think it's hogwash? Do you think it's something that we can continue to proceed with? I know for a fact that as it stands, when it comes to the migrant crisis, and we can no longer to withstand to bring millions of migrants in this country. I'm sorry, no disrespect to anybody from that community. Like I said, I'm not trying to be disrespectful here. This is not. It's not about being disrespectful. This is about being honest. New York State has spent over billions of dollars spent on the migrant crisis. Think about it. That's billions of dollars. That's not spent on education. That's not spent on infrastructure. That's not spent on the economy. That's not spent on any of those things. It's spent on the migrants, people that are not from this country, people that have no allegiance to this country, people who haven't paid into the system, haven't paid taxes. They're just benefiting off the system. Los Angeles, they spent over $500 million on the migrant crisis. All of these, sanctuary cities, billions of dollars being allocated. We cannot continue to fit this bill. We cannot continue to fit this bill. We cannot continue to allow this to happen. It's out of control. And I'm not saying that what Trump is doing is right. I'm not saying that Trump is the answer. I'm not saying that Trump is has all the answers to life's problems and he's doing the right thing and he's the Captain America. I don't believe in none of the above. But what I do know is that we can no longer to withstand like this. We cannot continue to bring millions and millions of migrants in this country. That's not feasible. That's no country no country can withstand this. No country. And the reality is this, and people don't want to hear this. People from other countries don't want to hear this. I know the liberals and the Democrats don't want to hear this, but this is what it is. And I'm just being honest. We all can't go. We all can't go. We all can't go to Dubai. We all can't go to China. We all can't go to Russia. We all can't go any. You pick a you get a globe and you point out a country on the globe, and I assure you, all of us cannot go. All of us can't go. We all can't go. America's no different. We all can't go to America. Everybody can't come here. Just like in Mexico. Mexico right now, respectfully, and I love Mexico and I love the people of Mexico. I was there last year, man. Beautiful country and beautiful people from that country, man. But do you know that Mexico goes through the same thing? Where they're kicking people out, with bordering countries. They're kicking people out of their country that are going there for a better life, going there for a better opportunity. So they're doing the same thing But we're acting like, it's such a crime here. But they're actively kicking people out. They're actively kicking people that are not citizens of their country. But it's a problem in terms of the Democrats. The Democrats have a problem with that. It's out of control. Salute to Sinclair. I know they need to refrain immigration policies, letting people and make the process easier. When my grandma came here, it was a 20-month process, really, until she became a citizen. So you believe? Hold on, I know they need to reform the immigration policy, vetting people and make the process easier. So yeah, the process is not easy. I will agree with you, Sinclair, on that. The process is not easy. I'm hearing that it takes a couple of years for a lot of people. It's not a very easy process that a lot of people are going through. No, the people that do decide to go through the proper channels. It's not an easy process. It takes years. I've heard someone that said that it took at least 4 or 5 years for them to become a legal citizen. So, can the process be be changed? Can the process possibly be better? I do think that we need to explore that. It can be a better process, but people coming here illegally. I mean, we can no longer to withstand that. As tax-paying citizens can't fit that bill anymore. You know, billions of dollars allocated to the migrant crisis. People are struggling to pay their mortgage. They're struggling to pay their rent. They're struggling to put food into their homes, but there's billions of dollars being allocated to not to take care of veterans, not to take care of the homeless, not to put that money towards education, not towards to put that money towards better streets and building, better infrastructures in our communities. It's being put towards people who have no allegiance to this country and are not from this country. Respectfully, we need to do better. We can no longer. And I'm not saying that people that come here for a better life shouldn't be. There shouldn't be money allocated to that cause. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that we can no longer to fit that bill where it's up to the point of billions and billions of dollars being allocated to it. That's ridiculous. It's out of control. It's out of control. Billions of dollars not spent on education, not spent on infrastructure, not spent on any of that, just to put people up in high-rise hotels and give them stipends. Is out of control, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. Salute to FBA. I see FBA change his name. FBA says my son got that Rick Ross beard lined up. I see you. Get it. Yeah, man. I got a haircut today. Yeah, man, my barber, he tried to hit me with the okey doke. He said, "Oh, I got something to do. Can my man give you a line?" I don't really like the job he did, but it's not the typical job that I like to get, but it is what it is. I see FBA changed that name though. It went from I Master to he went back to the FBA. Okay. You want to talk about that, man. You went from the I Master back to the FBA Master, man. What happened, man? you know? Eric says, why do black people have to always be the stepping stone for everyone? That's a good ass question. I'm not gonna lie. That's a good ass question. To be honest with you, I'm gonna be honest with you. Black people are really influential. We really are. Why do you think that when it comes to the ICE protests, right? To the ICE protests, why do you think that there are people in that protest calling for black people to come out and show support? Because they know black people have a lot of influence. They know black people have, a lot of cultural currency. And in terms of us always being the stepping stone, I think that's a part of it. I think it's because we have a lot of influence. We may not have the most political power. We may not have the most, we may not have the most billionaires, but we have a lot of influence. We do have a lot of influence. You can see it. You can see how people emulate us. You see how people dress like us. People want to talk like us. Everybody want to be a nigga, but nobody want to be a nigga. So it's a lot. We black people, we hold a lot of influence in America. And I'm also gonna say this. A lot of, and I said this earlier, a lot of minorities, whether it be Hispanic, whether it be Asian, whether it be any minority group, they've hopped on the backs of black people. When it comes to civil rights legislation, when it comes to all of these political strides that that black people have made, minority groups hopped on our backs and they've benefited off of the hard work that we've done. And that was all based off of our influence. That was all based off of our political strides and the work that we've done. So I would say, yeah, it's a lot of it has to do with influence. A lot of it has to do with it's been a culture of a lot of these minority groups to benefit off of the hard work that we've done. If you ask me. Eric says, by the way, the beard is Chris. Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. He says facts. Yeah, man, that's just what it is, man. I'm just keeping it real, But it's out of control though. It's out of control. And birthright citizenship, it should be reserved for people that are citizens. Like I said, if let's say you're an American man and let's say you meet a woman and she doesn't have citizenship in America, she's here illegally. If you conceive a child with that woman, I believe that I think that child deserves to be a citizen because you have one parent that's a citizen. So I believe that that child deserves to be a citizen. Absolutely. Um, but if we have this is the scenario that I'm putting on the table. If we have two people, and let's say the woman is pregnant. Let's throw that caveat in there. Let's say two people traveled here and they're together, and the woman is pregnant and she comes to America and she has a child in America. That child is not American. That child is not American. You have two parents that are from another country. They have not gone through the process and they came here illegally. Thereby, for that child is not an American citizen. That's not an American child. It's not an American child. I'm just keeping it real, respectfully. Respectfully. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody of that community, and I'm not trying to, at all. But we just have to really call it what it is. That child is not American. You came here legally and you dropped off a child in this country. That doesn't make this child American. Um, the birthright citizenship, like I said, it was created for the children of slaves. It wasn't created for the migrants. It wasn't created for, foreigners to come here and to drop off babies respectfully. You know, I'm just keeping it real. And I want to know, how do you guys feel? We got 20 people in the building. I need you to hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Again, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Do you believe in birthright citizenship? Do you believe? And I also threw this caveat out there. I threw this caveat out there because this is something that we need to talk about. If, let's say, someone comes here and they have ties, let's say to the Iranian government, they have ties to the Iranian government, and let's say that person comes here and they have, let's say they bring their wife here and they come here and they drop off a child. Do you believe that that person deserves to have birthright citizenship? Their child deserves to have birthright citizenship? Because that's how far the Democrats are willing to take it. They are willing to say, yeah, even enemies of the states, people that we have, issues with politically over, foreign politics, people that we have issues with, even they deserve to be here through birthright. That's how far the Democrats are willing to take it. They're not willing to protect the black, to protect the citizens of America in any type of way. How far are we willing to take it? You know, respectfully, I'm just asking the question. Um, Top says, so does that mean we have to rewrite our Constitution? I don't think we need to rewrite the Constitution. I think it needs to just be edited, or we just need clarification on the meaning of these things, and we have to put into context what these things were created for. That's what I believe. We need to put into context what these, like, we have to look at the Constitution and see what these things, or these amendments, and put these things in perspective of what these laws were created to protect, what these things were created for. If we're just looking at these laws and we're just looking at it at face value, in this current time when these laws were written many, many, many moons ago, we have to go back and look at what these things were created for. These things do not apply to our current modern day America. So I do think we need some clarification, maybe not a rewriting, but a clarification of what these amendments were for and what they were made to protect, and how does that correlate to today. That's what I believe, in my opinion. That's what I believe, but not a full rewriting of the Constitution. I don't believe that we need that. But that's how I feel about it. More of a clarification, and to put into context what these things were created for, what these amendments were created for. That's what I believe that should be. We should have in terms of that. Sinclair says we can add amendments and ratify those amendments. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree with that. I agree. I agree. You know. Um, and I'm gonna be honest with you. This the whole migrant crisis, it's really nobody's fault. People are trying to make it Trump's fault. It's not Trump's fault. It's not Barack Obama's fault. It's not Bush's fault. It's not Bill Clinton's fault. This Something should have been done a long time ago. Something should have been put in place politically a long time ago. Something should have been done a long time ago politically, to make clear on what should be happening at the border. Make clear what we should be doing in terms of the migrant crisis, and in terms of the border and things like that. These things should have been, clarified a long time ago. So it's really none of these presidents' fault. Now you could blame them for not doing anything about it, and for allowing these things to just balloon and blossom, and allow these things to just sit there, and them to just sit on those problems. But it's really none of their fault. It's really just a problem that they inherited, and that they just chose not to do anything about it. Eric says, we don't need to rewrite the Constitution. We just have to obey it. There's no need to rewrite anything. It says what it says, and it means what it means. The Constitution is very clear. It was specifically written to protect the rights of African slaves and their unborn as part of the Dred Scott decision. I agree. I agree. Absolutely. I agree. But a lot of people are manipulating the laws. They're manipulating it and making it correlate to the migrant crisis, or all of these other things. So people are manipulating these laws. But I agree with what you're saying. We don't have to rewrite it. I think we need more of a clarification of what these things, in terms of the Constitution and the amendments, what these things were created for. We need a clarification. That's what we need. We need clarification on what these things. And I heard a lot of states are going to be going forward with the birthright citizenship thing. So you may see in a lot of states, and I don't know what particular states some of you live in, but you may see in a lot of these states that they may start rounding people up. And it won't matter if your child is an American citizen or not, because in the particular state that you live in, they have no jurisdiction on that. They don't care. So I did hear that there are particular states that are looking forward, or going forward with that. So it depends on where you live, though. I know depending on where you live. Um, Sinclair says, I agree with you, Eric, pertaining to Constitution. Eric says, very true, but the framers were very specific. Jacob Howard, yeah, one of the framers, explained it in details. This shall not include foreigners or anyone with allegiance to other countries. Oh, is that in the amendment? If that's in the amendment, then that's clear as day. If that's in the amendment, then that's clear as day. You know, because I'm gonna be honest with you. You have a lot of people in this country that come here from different countries, and they have this mutinous attitude. You're here as an illegal immigrant. You don't have no ties to this country. You're not paying taxes. You're benefiting off of the system. You're not paying into the system. And you have this mutinous attitude towards America and Americans. Why are you here? Respectfully, why are you here? You have this mutinous attitude towards America. Like even when I looked at that the ICE protest, right? And you have people standing on top of cars waving the Mexican flag. And listen, I love Mexico. I think Mexico is a beautiful country. But if you have this much allegiance and pride for where you come from, why aren't you there building your utopia? Why aren't you there waving that flag high and proud? I'll tell you why you're not there, because you're scared to go back. There's no opportunity when you go back. And life is better for you here. But you come here and you have this mutinous, nasty attitude while you're here in America. Go back to the country that you're proud to be from, respectfully, you know, respectfully. And again, I have sympathy. I have sympathy for the people that come here illegally looking for a better life. If you're coming here as an illegal immigrant, you broke the law. We can't get around that. You did break the law. But if you're coming here for a better life, I can't hate on that. I can't get mad at that. I can't feel a way about that. You're looking for a better life. Things were messed up in your country. You came here for a better life. I can't get mad at that. But you have people that come here. They have this mutinous attitude against America. Some people come here. They're criminals. Some people they come here. They're drug dealers. They're sex offenders. Those people got to go. Respectfully, those people got to go. You know. Um, Sinclair says, "Oh, you that's an Erica question." Black says, "If they looking for a better life, I don't know too much xenophobia." Wait, if they're looking for a better life, I don't know. FBA says, "Nah, make wherever you from great again." I agree. I agree with that sentiment. I said it like 3 times on here. I think people should be making the place that they're from, the place that they are and they're from. Look, foundational Black Americans, they took us from our homeland. We've spent generations in America. We're Americans, right? We're Americans. We're Black Americans. This is our home. This is where we're from. We're trying to make America the best place for us because this is our home. We've been here for generations. We've built this country. We have sweat equity in this country. So we're trying to make this country the best for us. You don't see us waving the flag of Congo. Us on top of the we at the BLM protest and we're waving the Congo flag. We're waving the Ghana flag. Ghana! Or we're waving, these American flags. No, we're here in America. We're protesting for a better life, better civil rights, and better equalities in America. So when I'm looking at some of these protests and you got people hopping on top of cars with a Mexican flag and waving the flag, to my head it just makes me think like why aren't you in Mexico? Why aren't you in the country that you proud to be from? Like why aren't you there? If you have all this love and admiration, and I think that it's a beautiful thing. I think that it's a beautiful thing that you have patriotism towards your country. I think it's a beautiful thing. But I have to ask, why aren't you there? Why aren't you there? We have to ask that. FBA, nah, make where he says, word, I have no place to go home. Only here. Exactly. We're Black Americans. We have sweat equity in America. We are a part of the fabric of this country. We built this country. This country was built off of the backs of Black Americans. The economy was built off the backs of Black Americans. We fought in your wars. We've died in your wars. We put our lives on the line. The first person to lay down their life for this for America. The man's name was Crispus Attucks. The first man to lay down his life for America was a Black man, Crispus Attucks. We are a part of the fabric in the building blocks and the foundational root of America. You don't see us on top of no BLM. No, you don't see us on top of no car at the BLM waving the Ghana flag or waving the Kenya. Oh, the Congo, South Africa. Like, we ain't doing that because we're from America. We're Americans. Yeah, man, it's just, it's real spill. Salute to Top. Salute to Larna. She says, howdy, howdy. Well, howdy to you. Howdy. Howdy doody. I reckon I ain't seen you around these parts. I want to go to Texas. I want to go to Texas soon. I haven't been to Texas. I've been wanting to go to Texas for a long time. I think I'm gonna go. Um, they have I think it's the Texas National Carnival. You know where they have like the Texas the big Tex out. You know the big Tex animatron statue out there. I want to go to that festival. I think it's the Texas National Festival, but they got big Tex out there. They got all the barbecue out there. I want to go to Texas soon. Yeah, I'm gonna go check out when that national when the carnival's going on. I gotta go. Sweet Lullaby says, "Come to Nashville." Oh, really? Yeah, I would love to go to Nashville. I would love to go to Nashville. I would love to go to Nashville. Somebody says, Republic, not Demo. He talking about when I said the Republic of Congo, right? Yeah, you know what I was trying to say. FBA says my mother stays in Austin. It's so clean and the people are friendly as well. Going in October, yeah, man. I want to go. I want to go to Texas, man. I've been wanting to go to Texas for a while, man. I want to go to Texas. I definitely want to go to Texas. Definitely want to go. I want to go to Texas, and I want to go to St. Louis. And I know y'all probably thinking, oh, don't go to St. Louis. It's so dangerous out there. Yeah, but I want to go to St. Louis. I want to go to St. Louis as well. I want to go to Texas or St. Louis. I'll probably try to make it to one of those. I think I'm going to look into the Texas National Carnival. I think I'm going to look into that maybe soon because I think it's coming up soon. So I think I may try to make my way down there. But I would love to go. Um, Somebody says, "Come to Kansas City for the barbecue." Kansas City got good barbecue. I'll go to Kansas City. I've never been to Kansas City. I would love to go to Kansas City. Yeah, I'd love to go to Kansas. You know, 607, Unc. Yeah, man. I would love to go to those places, though, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'd love to go. The only place I'm not trying to go really is to California. I have no reason to go to Cal. I'm not like a California. I don't think I want to go to California. Yeah, I don't think I want to go to California, man. The Mexicans also spray painted over Kobe and his daughter's mural in Los Angeles. What did that have to do with anything? You know what? I did see that. I did see that. You're right. I did see that. That was crazy. That was crazy. And they also painted over Kendrick Lamar's mural. Why do Mexicans, respectfully, and I'm not saying all Mexicans, but why do some Mexicans have a lot of resentment towards black people? You could even find it in the prison system because they have something called the Northerners and the South and the Southerners and in jail. And there's like a certain sect of Mexicans that they only rock with whites, and they like rock with the Aryan Nation and the ABs and stuff like that. Like there's a sect of Mexicans that hate black people, respectfully. And I'm not saying all Mexicans are like that because they're not all like that, but there is a sect of Mexicans that don't rock with black people. And yeah, when I saw that with the Kobe Bryant Xing out Kobe Bryant, like what did that have to do with anything? Like why are you Xing out Kobe Bryant? Like, why? And it just shows you that some of these people, respectfully, some of them, no disrespect to all of them, some of them, because I guarantee you, the knuckleheads that did that or allowed that, I'm sure that there were a few people in that crowd that was like, why'd they do that to Kobe? I'm sure every last one of them, because you can't generalize everyone. I'm sure there were people in that crowd that saw that and was like, they didn't have to do that. Like that was just uncalled for. Like, why are you doing this to Kobe and his daughter and like I'm sure there's people there that felt like that. But the knuckleheads that did that, this clearly people that have this that don't have no respect for black people, and they have this mutinous attitude, and they have no allegiance to where they are. They have no allegiance to California. They have no allegiance to the culture of California, and it's real. You know, somebody says so true. It must have been indoctrinated somewhere. Yes, absolutely, it's been indoctrinated. All racism is indoctrinated. All racism is indoctrinated. You know, hate is learned. Hate is learned. I believe it's indoctrinated. You know, all hate and racism is indoctrinated. Absolutely. Um, Somebody says just like our stereotypes of Africa, there's more wealthy there than here. I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. Oh, you're from Rochester? You're from Rochester. Okay. Salute to Rochester. FBA says, I ain't from Africa. I'm from Southside Queens. Southside in the house. Doom, 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 doom. Hit them with that rising to the top, man. Tell them, FBA. You don't know nothing about no Burner Boy. You don't know nothing about no Africa. Tell them about rising to the top. Rising to the top. Tell them about them. Tell them about 50 Cent and Freaky Tom, man. Tell them about the Lost Boys, man. I don't know nothing about no Africa. I'm from Southside Jamaica, Queen. Nah, man. Nah, I hear you though. I hear you. I hear you. Nah, but that's real though, man. What do y'all think about the whole the Haitian immigrant thing? I did see that too. That I think Trump took away the rights of 5,000. I think it was, what was it, half maybe 500,000 Haitian migrants, something like that. I got to look into that story again. Something about the rights of a couple of Haitian brothers. I don't know. I have to look back into that story. But he's going after the Haitians, man. He took away some of their rights or whatever. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And I saw Dr. Umar. He had a point, and I had to agree with Dr. Umar. And he said Dr. Umar was like, "Yo, like I see all these black people out there for the ICE protests, and they fighting for Mexicans and things of that nature, and I have no problem with that." But he was like, "Yo, when the Haitians were getting deported and they were being ostracized, I ain't see nobody black fighting for them." And I have to agree with that. Where was the allegiance to the Haitians? It was now I have my issues with Tethers, but he did have a point with that. He did have a point. He did have a point with that. FBA says they about to make Haiti great again. Man, Haiti, man. Oh man, I respect Haiti though. I respect Haiti, man, because they fought back against oppression. I respect Haiti. Got a lot of respect for Haiti. He says they was getting whipped on horses. Woo! I did see that. Yeah, I did see that. I did see that with that white man on that horse with that whip. Yeah, that was crazy. 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 I'm not even gonna lie. That was crazy. Like that was nutty. Yeah, at the border. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw that. That was crazy. Lorna says he's already a king. Um, None stop him yet. Checks and balances, real shaky. Yeah, but that was crazy though. The white man on a horseback with the whip, that was crazy. That was nutty, y'all. Yeah, man. But yeah, that's all I have to say in terms of this topic. Where we at on the time? Actually, let me get to the 1 hour mark. We got like 30, we got 30 more seconds. Let me get to the 1 hour. Let's make it a 4 hour. But yeah, that's all I have to say in terms of this topic. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think in terms of this story. Are you yay or nay? Do you believe in birthright citizenship? Do you think it should be done away with? Do you think that anyone who comes here and has a child deserves the right to be a citizen? Let me know in the comment section. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Salute to the mods. Salute to FBA. Salute to Sinclair. Salute to everybody that came in here. Salute to Lorna. Salute to Sandy. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. Salute to everybody in there turning up, talking their talk. I'll see you guys on the next live, the next video. We are out. Toodles. You guys have a good weekend. Well, what's left of your weekend, because it's primarily over, depending on where you are in the nation right now. It's, right here, it's about 7 o'clock in New York. So, Sunday is primarily over, at least today. But, yeah, y'all guys have a good night, man. We'll see you guys another live. We out. Toodles.